Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final match of Group B here at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. Much quicker evening here than it was last night. And I don't believe I can... Oh, there we go. Okay, let's try again. A much quicker evening.
Yes, yes indeed. I feel like last night we had a game that was longer than tonight.
Almost.
Certainly felt that way. Tonight is just flying right by. I do feel like yesterday's group was a bit better overall as far as quality of games, but we definitely just had a nice game right there. And I thought the DRG Zest series was pretty fun. I think this is going to be the best of the night, though.
I think so, it should be. DRG is looking pretty good. Byung, of course, with the edge in terms of head-to-head history against this player. And DRG, not the complete monster that he once was, but still scary enough. No doubt about that. Can still beat anyone on a good day.
Absolutely. He's still a contender to get deep in any tournament. Maybe not, you know, I feel bad for players like DRG because there was like this little stretch of time where DRG basically won or got to the finals of like every tournament. And then as soon as he doesn't do exactly that anymore, we're like, well, you know, DRG isn't what he once was. And it's like, I'm like, well, you know, the thing is, he's even better than he was. It's just everyone else is really good now too. You know, he was just first getting there. The guy is insanely good, and this is going to be a nice series.
Yeah, I hope so. And it would be nice to see Dongre-gu go through, honestly. And I think he's got what he needs to make that happen. But as we saw quite recently, he wasn't able to overcome Byung in Code A. But that doesn't necessarily mean that much going into this. So this is a reset, and DRG wants this, I feel.
He does. He wants to go forward here. Byung has been getting plenty of credit lately. DRG wants some too.
Absolutely. DRG being out of the spotlight is so strange, but even so recently he received his ST award, so it's not like he's been out of the spotlight too much, but
yeah.
That's the problem when expectations are set so ludicrously high. It's the same issue that Innovation has. It's like, Innovation is only going 14-0 in team leagues, you know, that's it, you know. He's only just sort of losing a bit in GSL, but he's still getting to round of 16. He's still putting up great fights. So it's a bit of a shame that they set the bar so high and then they constantly kind of fail to reach that after that. But that does not mean they're both not incredible players. But in the case of Dongre-gu, he's got to go up against this guy. It's the northeast position with that happy star face next to it, which is not really indicative of the stone-cold killer that is behind it. That I can tell you for a fact. In the orange trunks playing Terran, it's CJ enters Byung.
And his opponent in the bottom left of our map, an amazing Zerg from MVP. It is Dongre-gu. Or Dongreed Gold, as we saw in Habitation Station. Would love to see some play like that once again, I tell you.
Yep. For the last 10 hours, I've been slow cooking a delicious dish in honor of Mr. DRG. It's a warm spice ragu.
I think this is over my head.
It's not an actual joke. I have been making it. For the last 10 hours, I've been slow cooking. It's been a hobby of mine that I've taken up recently. I bought myself a slow cooker because I thought, you know what, I'm a busy guy. I don't really have the time to do a lot of prep work. What I want to be able to do is kind of prep something in the morning, put it in the slow cooker, leave it, and then in the evening when I'm hungry, there's a meal ready for me, right? So I buy the slow cooker. And I bought some cookbooks along with it, and I got one from America's Test Kitchen. There's this one recipe I've been wanting to try out, which is a beef warm spice ragu, which is beef short rib with tomatoes, cinnamon, and things like that. And I finally got around to making it today. I thought, you know what? We've got a real Dongre-gu in this series. I'll make a ragu of my own. It will be wonderful. And I'm hoping he wins, you know, because honestly, that will be one bitter ragu that I have to eat after this broadcast is over if he doesn't win here.
I'm sure DRG would want you to enjoy it either way, TotalBiscuit.
I think so.
Slow cookers do rule, though. I love having vegetarian chili out of those things.
Oh, yeah. You can make so much of it, and you can just keep it for later on. It's great. And it's ready when you are as well. You don't have to worry too much about it. It's like, oh, well, I overcooked it. My meal's ruined. It's like, it's kind of hard to overcook things in a slow cooker. That's the best thing about it.
It's because it cooks slowly.
It does, as it turns out.
It's a safe macro. It's a safe macro cooking build order, basically. It's like hard to go wrong with.
Absolutely. You know, it's entirely possible. You get aggressive with your cooking, you miss your timing, and that's it, you know. Your whole build is gone. You just got to throw it out. But with a slow cookie, you can't really go wrong.
Like, a cookie rush will go wrong sometimes. They all come out burnt, and, you know, you just get rejected when you try to give them to your kid. They're like, ew. But not with the slow cooker. You're going to be fine. You're going to be able to transition into a meal later on, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, it will never win a GSL, I feel, but it's always going to be that consistent contender. You know, it's going to be the kind of guy that you don't want to chuck off your team, but you don't necessarily want to give him the top bunk in the team house either.
And here's the thing, too. You don't want to win the GSL every night with your cooking. You're going to actually get bored of that. So it's good to mix in.
I would tend to agree. Now, Byung has mixed in 3 Reapers. I would say he's mixed them in. That's all he's got, actually. And he's adding on these Hellions, and that always makes me suspicious now after this patch. It's like, oh, we're going to see some Hellions. Will they eventually be Hellbats? Who knows? We saw some crazy action from Flash on Overgrowth yesterday doing just that. Although with Byung opening it with 3 Reapers, it's a little unusual. And here's a thing. We got DRG with a fairly early Roach War and a decent number of Lings on the board.
Well, you know, he might be a little bit afraid of what you're saying here with Hellbats because we do have an armory on the way, and that Roach Warren definitely could help against that, but he just left his base, and these Speedlings are going to run right in.
Knock, knock. Who's there? A lot of Zerglings coming in here from Dongrae Gu as he collapses the wall at the front, gets a bit of damage done, cancels a supply depot, kills 2 workers, and gets out of there. Sees the Hellions, sees the Reapers, and he did not scout that armory, but I think he's seen enough to be suspicious that it could happen.
Yeah, you gotta think about that when you're seeing a bunch of Hellions nowadays, that there definitely could be Hellbats coming. And these Roaches are going to do perfectly against that. You know, this is how we used to see Zergs hold off Hellbats, is plenty of Roaches, and then, of course, some Speedlings in there as well. And look at this, he's even getting a Baneling Nest. He might even decide to go aggressive with this.
I like this because, of course, it can disrupt any kind of timing that the Terran has got coming. The problem, I think, with this new Hellbat timing is it comes so fast, I'm not sure you can disrupt it. Because the Hellions are so get across the map far faster than Hellbats would, and then just turn into Hellbats and go. And this is going to be hard for Dongrae Gu to hold here because the aggression is now, not in a minute's time.
Yeah, kind of exactly like what you just said. It has just occurred, and he is going after everything, but I think DRG actually does have enough here with these Roaches.
Yeah, they actually set up a nice little Roach flank that came in from the side and collapsed what was left of Byung there. And the problem with this particular build versus, say, the one that we saw Flash do is it doesn't have any medevacs in it. So the survivability isn't there.
Yeah, that's true. It's got to get in and do its damage. But if DRG hadn't gotten such a quick Roach Warren, then that would have done a lot more damage. He probably would have killed both Queens, a bunch of Lings would have had to come out, maybe he even makes it to a drone line.
Yeah, and that would have been a potential disaster there. That said, you know, the push was good from Byung, but it certainly wasn't something that, if he happened to lose it, it would have crippled him completely. Because he did go for the triple command center build, so he can keep up with Dongrae Gu here, and he may force DRG into a situation where DRG is going to want to take that 4th base. But there's a lot of gas that's being added on here, and of course the lair is being built as well with the double upgrades, the melee and the carapace, so we may very well see Ling, Baneling, Muta.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see pretty standard play going forward from DRG. It's really what he's best at, in my opinion. From Byung, you know, he's getting his macro going. Looks like he's getting ready to take a 3rd. Playing really safely. Look at that setup. Double bunker, the up wall in, a couple Widow Mines. He does not want any shenanigans coming out of DRG.
No, not at all. And he also still has this Force of Hellions. I believe he built more, actually, on top of that, because of course he did lose a decent amount of them in that push. But he built a few more. And that means he has that map control. He can shut down Ling run-bys a little bit more effectively. But DRG will take his 4th base, and his harassment will, of course, come in the form of Mutalisks. The Spire is up. The gas is starting to build up very fast here for DRG. Got 6 gas very quickly, and he will be able to pump out maybe even 10 Mutas and a +1 upgrade. It depends if he decides to build any more Banelings, because he's got a little Lings on the way, and Baneling speed is being constructed as well.
Well, I think he can skip on Banelings just for a little bit, unless he really wants to get aggressive here, because we don't even really have medevacs out. So Byung doesn't want to attack until at least then. I think that'll give him time to get his mutas going.
Yeah, I think it will. And DRG he just gets aggressive so often, though. And sometimes it is to his cost. I wouldn't want to get aggressive against a bunch of Hellbats, even if they are not blue flame. But the Roaches are at the front in a good spot. One Hellbat dies. He looks for the surround. Can he get it before they get into the bunker? Unfortunately, not quite. But it looks like he's good enough to crush this anyway.
Yeah, looks like he is just killing off absolutely everything. That bunker will end up going down. All the Hellbats are gone, so these Zerglings so powerful. Wow. Very few units out for Byung. Look at the supply differential. About 40 or almost 50 supply difference.
DRG, he is on fire in this game right now, and we talked about aggression. He made it happen even without Banelings. 15 Muta reload here coming in, putting a few in the chamber. Hey, that's fantastic. Take that third base out, put a huge amount of map presence out, ensure that Byung has no choice but to keep his army together, otherwise it will be picked off. And then, of course, backstab. And 15 mutas is enough to overcome. There's only one turret, actually. There's not even one in the natural.
Dude, this is looking so good by DRG. He's up by 60 supply. He eliminated the third base for a bit. He's got a gigantic standing army. He's got his Baneling speed, similar upgrades, a ton of Mutalisks. There's only a couple medevacs here for Byung. I think DRG is just going to crush Byung completely and utterly this game.
He's looking so very good. He's going to go into the main base. That turret's going to get picked off really quickly. There's a bunch of Banelings postured for a big attack on the third. And DRG, of course, is going to start picking off add-ons, which I absolutely love, although Byung is too busy fighting to worry about that, because here come the Lings, and the Banelings coming in as well. A huge connection right there, a quick evacuation, but the supply wall is down. Only Flash can maintain a wall of that caliber. Byung, you heathen, what are you doing? The mineral line goes up in smoke, the Lings stream in, and Byung is completely and totally destroyed at the third, as the Mutas ravage and camp the production.
He is down by a good 100 supply at this point. DRG smashes Byung. GG. I can't even believe how well DRG played that game. He is just a man on fire right now. I mean, he did look good against Zest, who seems unbeatable, but I guess Zest's amazingness, like, didn't let us see just how well DRG is playing today.
Oh man, that is insane. That was so well played by Dongrai Gu. You know, that's the DRG of old that we know and love.
Yeah, that was just crazy. Like, he always had enough units. He had him in the right places. Defensively, he was great. Macro-wise, he was great. His attacks were perfect. His Mutalisk switch timing was amazing. It just, like, how are you going to beat that, Byung? That was really good play.
Oh my god, that was just some of the best Ling Baneling Muta I've seen, but with a good use of Roaches too. And I think that is something you have to put in there, because we are now seeing Hellbats coming back into fashion. We're seeing those pushes with the Armory, so the Roaches have really got to come up earlier. It's not a case of just kill those 6 initial harassing Hellions, and then you don't need Roaches anymore. No, you do. Something's got to deal with those Hellbats, so he incorporates the Roaches, has a decent number alive. And that actually ends up being even more awkward for the Terran player when you think about it. Yeah, you've got to build an extra type of unit, but so does the Terran. They've got to build Marauders, which of course are not. They don't shoot up, and they certainly don't kill Lings very quickly.
Yeah, they take longer to build. They're more expensive. They have lower damage output. Like, the Roaches really do complicate things a bit. So nice play there by DRG, really playing the current meta, and he looks fearsome, man. I don't think Byung is going to get out of this group after watching game number 1. I can't imagine Byung going 2-0 from here. Can you?
No. I mean, DRG held all the cards there. There was one attack from Byung, and it was so ruthlessly torn to pieces. And initially, it didn't look like that was going to happen, but the Roach flank was already set up, and it was shredded, and then after that, it was DRG's game to play any way he so desired. The run-bys were brilliant, the attacks were super aggressive, and Byung, it almost seems like he was caught on the back foot, and remained there for the rest of the game.
Look, I am just, like, already my mind is racing. I'm like, am I going to get to see a best of 7 of DRG with that level of play against Flash tomorrow,
oh my God,
who killed
I hope
Life?
So.
That would be wildly good. But you know what? We have to back up a minute. Byung is still here. He's still in it. The guy is a powerhouse. You know, maybe he was just a bit off that game. Maybe he knows what went wrong and he's going to fix it.
I certainly think so. We should, of course, bear in mind that Code A series, DRG also was able to win a map. Byung did, of course, come back and go full-on monster mode, but DRG is playing like a man on fire at the moment. And Byung, while he looked great against his Protoss opponents, here he seems to be stumbling a little. And will DRG's experience and raw power be enough to knock Byung out of the tournament? And of course, he would be... It's weird to say because, of course, MVP is a member of Kesper now, but would one of the more original Kesper teams actually take a wound here in the SHOUTCraft Invitational? Will DRG be the one who stands alone against the might of these original Kesper players? Right now he is, and he's standing strong.
Well, he's called the final boss for a reason, TotalBiscuit.
Oh, yeah. He absolutely is. And this is Phase 3. I'll see what crazy attacks he has up his sleeve here, and whether or not Byung will be able to dodge them. Let's see. It's Frost. This could be epic. To the northwest position, the Orange Trunks playing Terran. Down one game. This could be his final map of the tournament. He could be knocked out right here, right now. CJ enters Byung.
And his opponent in the bottom right of our map, the final boss himself, playing as if he's still completely in his prime. It is MVP DRG.
He really is, too. We look at the results and we see, oh, well, DRG got knocked down by Zest. Yeah, but he was the only one to even threaten him.
Yeah.
And he did threaten him. He really
certainly
did.
The fact that Zest, like, beat DRG in that Habitation Station game is, like, just... It's crazy. Everyone's going to be talking about that for weeks, you know? It's one of those wild games. So... DRG has the muscle to take down anyone, and we always like talk about that, and we always kind of know it, but especially in this last game, I think he showed it to the point where we're like, whoa, he actually is going to kill people. Like, with play like that, he could be the winner of this event as well. I mean, Zest is still going to be a tall mountain to climb, and I think Flash played out of his mind yesterday, but... DRG is a contender. It seems like everyone that's going to be in this top 4 is.
Yeah. Interesting scout there by DRG, I noticed. Now, of course, there is the possibility of proxy barracks around that area there, but do you think he was just kind of going towards the center to hope to see which direction the SCV came from, or was it actually just to look for a proxy?
I think primarily it was for proxies because this is something DRG really likes, both against Protoss and against Terran. He scouts like extensively for cannon rushes and proxies. But if he catches sight of an SCD coming in, he's going to instantly know which main his opponent's at as well.
Yeah.
Which he'll figure out relatively soon anyways because of Overlords, but definitely would have been nice.
Yeah. And it's not too much loss, really. We've seen so many players lose due to a lack of information. We don't generally see too many players lose due to having too much of it.
No, normally not. If you have too much information, well, I guess it could take you a while to process it or something, but I think you'd probably end up winning the game.
Probably. Now.
Well, unless you're against Zest, and then he'll just kill you anyways. But I mean, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing. I just wouldn't want to face Zest in any circumstances. Too much information, Too little information. I'd rather just hide in a box and hope that he leaves, finds a better target. Zest is just that damn scary, living up to the hype in a really real way. And honestly, I think every player that's got through has lived up to the hype that they deserved in this tournament. And Flash may be the biggest surprise in that respect, because Flash comes in with a ton of hype, and the more savvy people are saying, well, individual tournaments just aren't there. And then he says, I can do it. And he has a taste of what I'm going to show you on day 3. But the question is, who will he face?
I mean, you can't find someone that loved Flash more from StarCraft 1 than me, man. And the way I always looked at that was, look, eventually Flash is going to own everyone. Maybe not this season, maybe not next season, but he has more skill inside of him than any team put together. And, it felt like he started showing it yesterday, but, back to these guys, the winner here definitely can give him a run for his money. DRG's ZVT looked just out of control, and Byung actually smashed Flash in Pro League just a few days ago. So, gonna be a good match either way.
What do you reckon to DRG's build order at the moment and kind of the timing of his third base versus how quickly Byung got that CC down? I believe it was a 1-Rax gasless expand there from Byung.
Yeah, it's interesting to see a build like that pop up for Byung here, especially since he's going straight into Starport here with, it looks like it's going to be Banshee play and Hellions. Whereas DRG with like quite a quick speed into his third base, which might actually end up paying off because you definitely need Zergling speed if you want to be able to hold on against Banshee Hellion harassment at your third base. So I guess it's actually a good thing for DRG that he did this, but the economy is quite strong for his opponent.
Here it is again. The armor is coming down here for Byung, so this is not just Hellion Banshee, this is Hellbat Banshee. And so far, no Roach Warren. We're actually seeing a Baneling Nest go down, which is the exact opposite of what you want in this situation.
Yeah, he's going to have to utilize his Speedlings to, like, maybe stop the Hellions and or Hellbats from moving around and then smashing them with Banelings, but there's a very small margin for error when you deal with them like that, whereas Roaches are more kind of an attack move situation.
DRG... Oh, he misses the Armory. That... Of course, he sees the Banshee, but he missed the Armory in the corner there. He went for a really early pneumaticized Carapace, which allowed him to get a very quick scout with his Overlord here. He's adding Spore Crawlers, but I don't think he expects Hellbats, and that could be a real killer.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I really don't, because normally, like, Banshee Hellion is a very popular build. Banshee Hellbat, I've never even heard of it. It sounds like an old TVT strategy or something, right? But that also has Medivacs involved. So,
yeah.
Anyways, he's morphing them. Let's go. Let's see if Byung can do this.
Go power Hellbats. He's going forward. He's actually supply blocked at the moment, so he will not be reinforcing this anytime soon, but he will be losing units anyway. The Queens are starting to kite the Hellbats, which seems like a good idea. He needs to buy time, and he's going to have to get a great engagement, but the March of the Hellbats will not stop. Some links come in and, of course, get instantly roasted. More reinforcements come in with a little bit of a miss rally there. Bentley's coming in, but look at what Byung did. He set up 2 Hellions at the back to intercept the reinforcements from the third. So far, though, the Hellbats are getting slowly focused down. Baneling comes in. Link's trying to flood up against this, and let's see how much damage was done. Only 1 worker killed.
That was a good hold by DRG. It was looking really scary there from Byung for a moment, but DRG, he kited back properly with his Queens. He spread his Zerglings as best he could, hit a few pretty successful Banelings in there, and held on. That was a really good defense for a build he totally didn't see coming.
No, he didn't. No, and he probably won't see this coming either. 4 additional factories being added on. 2 base mech here from Byung with Ravens. A very interesting transition indeed. That is not the place where Zerglings want to be. I can tell you that for a fact. And they're going to have to retreat from there. But you're damn right that was a great hold. And Byung even set it up well with the 2 Hellions at the back, kind of as a rear guard to deal with the reinforcements that would be coming from the lava at the third base. But of course, the Banelings clear those out quite nicely. The Queen kiting was excellent. DRG only losing 1 Queen from that push was incredible. The Banshees, I mean, there's still 2 Banshees alive, but they've barely done anything.
Yeah, not really that effective yet, and he's put a lot of money into it with Cloak. But you know what? Banshees are definitely a unit with a mech composition that can be used all game long, so maybe he'll get some value out of them later on.
Yeah. Ling's on the way, and they're going to meet up with some Hellbats, so they're going to be leaving quite shortly, one way or the other, and it looks like it's going to be the other.
And you know what, DRG did actually scout that there's currently 5 factories with his Speed Overlord, so he's actually chosen to get Baneling speed and get all attack upgrades. So he's going to be looking to actually eliminate armies. He's not looking for necessarily a super long game, even though it definitely could go into that because it is mech that he's playing against. But he's looking to make a composition where when Byung moves out, he can run up and kill it off real quick. And that's where Speed Banes are going to come in. They should be able to clear the way against Hellbats and Hellions so that his Roaches can get in and deal the real damage to Thors and tanks.
Big surge of drones as well, going up to a nice meaty count of 84. Knowing, of course, that mech pushes take a while to really put together, especially if you happen to be using Hellbats with them and Thors, they're not going to be moving too quickly. He has an opportunity to poke a little bit with Mutas. He's not using too many of them. He's actually adding Swarm Hosts in here.
Well, Swarm Hosts, always a good choice against mech. Definitely something that can slow it down quite a bit. And of course, that oftentimes points towards a much longer game. Now, this map is really pretty big, and there's a lot of paths. So, Swarm Hosts versus mech, here, I guess you can walk your mech army around, but when your mech army's walking and not just pushing, it's not quite as powerful. Kind of an interesting scenario it's building.
And we could end up seeing another epic game. We saw Life versus Flash in a fairly similar situation, although it didn't really start off the same way. But this could end up as a similar... DRG, I think, is definitely tenacious enough to be able to take a game like that. I have not seen Byung play a long game like this, though. I don't know what to expect from him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think I've seen a few somewhat long Byung mech TVTs, and if I recall correctly, when he plays mech, he really likes to hit timing pushes and keep pressure on. And in fact, that is what we're seeing here. He's starting to move out already. Yeah, this is... We'll see how much damage he can get done. Notice he has a bunch of SCVs with him and a bunch of Hellbats. Baneling speed is going to be key here.
Few... Well, it's 12, 13 actually now Swarm Hosts, of course. They'll get roasted pretty quickly by those Blue Flame Hellbats with the backup there. This is a very tank-light mech push. This is a very mobile mech push, as weird as it sounds with Hellbats and Thors. Maybe the least mobile you could imagine, but oh, he's combining Banelings with it, and connections do happen. Take out a lot of SCVs, actually. Point Defense Drone has gone down, though. There's the Raven. The reinforcements coming back here. DRG needs to get another wave of Locusts. The Point Defense Drone is gone, but he's losing Locusts. He realizes he kind of has to go now. Doesn't get a good Baneling connection. Gets a surround on that tank. It will go down. Another tank very close to dying here, but these Thors endure.
Well, the Thors have a ton of health, but the Banelings have helped wipe out most of these SCVs. I don't really see a whole lot repairing anymore aside from 2. So the Thor is getting lower and lower. DRG may eventually be able to break through, but Byung is doing a lot of damage.
Yes, he is. He's pushing forward onto that third base, forcing a lot of units out. There's a bunch of roaches here from DRG that are actually attacking the third base. He wasn't microing them at all, though. He could have done way more damage than this. A Swarm Host has misrallied there. Not good here for Dongregu. He does not want to be losing any of those. He's only got 3 right now, and he's reinforcing with a lot of roaches, which, if he gets a critical mass, he can crush this, but the problem is there's a siege tank position now.
Yeah, he's just been rallying non-stop siege tanks up here. Really clever strategy. You know, your opponent's definitely going to make roaches when he sees the start of your mech army, but to switch into siege tanks is making these roaches worth much less. He's running forward with them, trying to get some damage done, but it looks like Byung should hold for now.
Yep, the roaches are trying to do something. He's got to pick off a tank or 2, but you're absolutely right. It was a very, very small tank comp suddenly into a big tank reinforce. But there are a lot of roaches. More tanks do go down. Dongregu continues to reload. I would love to see, actually, considering there's actually no Hellbats left, a bunch of Lings will clean this up very nicely here.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea, but he's continuing to build roaches. We do have some Hellbats coming down as well, but looks like the tank's going to go down before the reinforcements get there. And I think Byung is overextended here a bit.
Yep, I think you might be right. The roaches are now going to dive on top of one tank. They're going to try and take a second one. The Thor's going to go down as well. By the looks of it, the point defense drones are not going to be too useful here. And Byung's mech push is stopped dead in its tracks. Admittedly, he is now going for that 4th base, having killed the 3rd as well. If DRG loses this one too, he's going to be in some economic trouble. But his army is starting to get scary. He's pretty much playing with nothing but roaches here.
That's right. He's just massing up as much as he can, despite losing a base, trying to stay on those roaches for now, but starts an air upgrade. So we see that he does want to switch back into mutas if possible. You know, Byung is on just 3 base economy, whereas we actually have DRG on 4 at the moment. So overall, the game is still pretty good. Definitely no one decided as the winner yet.
Yeah, if you look at the army supply, it looks kind of scary for, you know, DRG having quite a lot of units, but it is mostly in roaches, and that's obviously very deceptive all the time. But there's still 75 drones to 58 workers. 58's okay with mules on a 3-base economy. Some damage was done. I mean, if you can believe it, DRG has actually done 24 workers worth of damage to Byung because of that little hit squad of roaches that were up on the ledge there. In fact, Byung's so scared of that happening again, he has floating barracks keeping an eye on it.
Well, in the meantime, we actually had a nice little Blue Flame Hellion drop in the back of DRG's Natural, killing quite a few drones right there. But, you know, it's still a solid drone count, and he's just going to refill and go into Mutalisk switch.
Yep, looks like he will. Another Blue Flame Hellion run by. There is some static defense. A pretty cool idea from DRG to attempt a surround, which actually did the job. It saved a lot of those drones. Better that than line them up, I say. And I'm still a bit worried for those spine crawlers, though. They're very badly injured. A concerted push could certainly compromise that base. But DRG wants to stay active on the map to try and prevent that from happening. I'm still actually kind of amazed that DRG held that mech push as well as he did, because that was actually terrifying.
Yeah, it was pretty scary, man. Those quick ones, when they come out, they can catch you off guard, but the fact that he had some Baneling speed and he, he unburrowed and moved back his Sormos a bit to get some extra volleys going, eventually he was able to whittle through. And now it's now time for his Mutalisks. Is he going to be able to get something done with these?
Maybe. He's up to this point, there's actually been very few Thors on the map, but it's now getting to the point where he's going to end up with, 4 and then try to go to 6. Obviously, defending 3 bases with Thors is tricky, but once you get about 6 of them, it works fairly well. Yet another attempted run by there, shut down, and that Hellbat is not going to live, I'm afraid. That gets easily picked off. But these Mutas could be very dangerous if he can find a point to hit.
Yeah, if the Thors aren't there, he can knock out some tanks or turrets or SCVs or something, and as long as he can deal any damage, that's really going to hurt Byung. He's still playing a little bit of catch-up here, not quite maxed out yet.
Yep, he forced cancel on the planetary in a lift, actually, which is always lovely. He took a volley of Thor shots, but that's not really that bad. And those Thors are kind of out of position now. I feel like Natural's vulnerable. It's a 2-pronged attack. DRG with a large amount of roaches. Unfortunately, the floating barracks is his enemy here. He's going to take a lot of siege tank shots for this. He's going to lose a lot of roaches in the process, I feel.
Yeah, that's actually not a very good move right there. Loses a lot more than he should have. In the meantime, these Mutas going to go into the natural, but there's a Thor and 3 missile turrets. Ew.
Ah, that's dicey right there, isn't it? But he has repositioned his swarm hosts in the meantime, so he's trying to sort of poke from 3 different angles here. There is another Hellion run by. It does get shut down quite easily there by Dongregu. Although, Byung has actually killed 50 drones in this entire game, if you can believe it. That's how good those Hellions have been. He's going to need even more static defense, I think, is Dongregu here.
DRG is continuing to focus on Mutalisks. He's pumping out more and more and more, but I'm a bit scared because he doesn't quite have the +1 carapace yet on the Mutas. Yet these Thors have +3 attack, so unless he completely dodges them, he's going to continue to hemorrhage Mutas.
Oh! Vulnerable siege tanks, though, and that's going to be 2 down by the looks of it. He will lose a few Mutalisks. He brings some roaches in for the back as well. Doesn't really do too much, kills a Hellion or 2, but he uses that to try and allow his Locusts and, of course, his Mutas to hit the tanks at the front here. So he's playing a very tactical game. He takes out 1 tank, another. He's going to take a 3rd. A 4th tank goes down.
That is true, but he loses quite a few Mutas, flies by the base with 1,000,000 mules at it. A lot of income for Byung right now, and you can see that reflected in his huge mineral bank. But DRG continue to keep on pressure as his Sormos pretty far up, and in fact might get punished for that.
Yep, he's going to try and pull them back. He'll use the Locust to cover his retreat and gets back onto creep. But he doesn't have anything to back this up. There's no static defense or anything to help him here. DRG dives on top of that Thor, and he does not get it somehow. Byung with the quick hot pickup there is able to keep that alive. DRG playing fast and loose with his Mutas, and they are doing damage to key units, but slowly but surely, Byung is building up that really killer 4-base economy with a large amount of siege tanks, and these Thors are 3-3. Well, actually, they're 3-1, but,
I mean, well, the +3 attack is really the one thing that matters, because everything's going to die before they even get there. Yeah. DRG continuing on the Mutalisk front, getting some Banelings and Zerglings as well, which are okay, but just the fact he's putting so much money into these Mutas, I mean, these +3 Thors, CB, are just going to kill everything.
Yeah, there's a death push on the way. Lings do manage to make their way into the natural. They'll do very limited economic damage. There's not that much there, but this push has a lot of tanks with it. It's got a lot of firepower with it, and unfortunately, the Mutas may be able to get at the tanks, maybe, but how much will they actually be able to do? Because Byung is not only hitting the 3rd base, a big Baneling hit hits the Thors, which isn't going to do much. He's also got 1 Thor that's beating on the 4th base here of Dongregu. 1 goes down here. DRG struggling at this point. He held really well initially, but maybe the decision to go Mutas wasn't quite right. He does pick off that Thor, but not without losing yet another hatchery in the process.
Well, the death march of Byung does continue forward. He's up by a good 40 supply, and DRG has no bank. He just lost 2 of his bases, and I can't see him holding on here at all. I think DRG is going to have to GG, and we're going to have to go to game number 3.
He's picking off Thors pretty well, I'll give him credit, but once the full firepower of the Thors is brought into play, those Mutalisks will not be living too long. He's killed about 3 Thors and a bunch of tanks here as well, but there are reinforcing tanks streaming in from the main base here, and the Muta count is about to go. There's no doubt about that. They are about to die off, and DRG doesn't really have much more. And I think you're right, it's going to be a GG, and we're going to go to the ace match actually for the first time today. We're going to see a game that's not 2-0, which of course is great for everybody.
Yeah, it's about time. A nice series so far between these two, really dominating play in game 1 from DRG. Game number 2, a lot closer, but Byung showing that his very aggressive mech style, a very different type of mech, can be effective even on a big map like Frost.
Yeah, it very much can. And I gotta admit, I had my doubts after the first couple of pushes because DRG held them very well, and he was looking good. But what do you think about DRG's unit choice? Do you feel that the commitment to Mutalisks was overdone, and maybe he should have tried something else?
It was way too over the top. You know, I think against a more passive mech player, you might be able to go mutas more heavily, but Byung is so aggressive and in your face and loves to make Thors, you know, with his mech composition.
Yeah, he made a lot.
It didn't work out because he was ahead, I felt, after those first few pushes. I felt like DRG had an edge there and maybe could have carried it to a victory, but too many mutas, and Byung really punished him with that +3 attack.
Yeah, and we're seeing the good old DRG thing again. He loves that lair tech, and he's very stubborn about it as well. Maybe you add a few Vipers into that mix, and suddenly those tanks and those Thors maybe not so good anymore. Use maybe a heavier Link Force, maybe with Adrenal Glands, and considering the Hellbat count was actually quite low in the late game, because he'd expended a lot of Hellions attacking those sort of outpost hatcheries over the other side of the map, maybe you beat that force more decisively, but it seems like he committed to that lair tech unit. It's like, no, this is what I'm building. I don't care what's coming at me, I can beat him with this. And as it turns out, no, he couldn't.
Yeah, you know what? You're quite right about that. And in a situation like this, DRG should have been the counterer, not the countered. So definitely a bit of a mistake there. But you know what? Our third map going to be King Sejong Station. And it's a good map for mutas. I think that DRG, he's going to like this map, and we'll see. Will Byung go for mech play again? We did see Flash do it here.
It's entirely possible. We're going to take a short break, folks. You'll hear a word from our sponsors, and when we come back, it will be the final map of the evening. Who advances to play Flash? CJ Byung or MVP Dongray Gu? We'll find out after the break. Hi, my name's John Bain, and it's my pleasure to thank SanDisk for bringing us top-notch StarCraft 2 entertainment at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. When I'm not casting StarCraft 2, it's my job to critique PC games, and to do that, I need the best hardware. One of the best upgrades that you can get for your PC gaming experience is a solid-state drive, so I'd like to encourage you to check out the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. It's engineered for super-fast read and write speeds and consistent high performance 24/7. What does that mean for your games? Faster load times, faster boot times, faster install times. Less downtime, more game time. Plus, they're easy to install, run cool, and are both virtually silent and energy efficient. If you're worried about reliability, no need. SanDisk backs it all up with a 10-year warranty. Game without limits when you step up to the consistent high performance of SanDisk Extreme Pro. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is all or nothing here for our two remaining players in Group B. Byung or Dongray Gu will go forward to fight against the mighty Flash in a best of 7 in the round of 4. That's only the round of 4. There's more to come after that.
Oh man, it's going to be awesome. There's even a third place match. It's a fantastic tournament, and it's going to be crazy with best of 7s coming up after this. The next 2 days are even going to be better than yesterday. And yesterday was like amazing.
Yeah, I always feel like with the group format, it's more of a case of being practical and kind of giving all the players a fair shot than it is necessarily about really great series. Because a best of 3, it can be good, but it can also be very short. It can be over very quickly, it can be fairly disappointing. Best of 7s generally never are in any way. You know, there's always a good shot for best of sevens to be amazing. Most do not end in 4-0 sweeps. They're very back and forth, and we get to see a full range of play.
Yeah, it's a best of 7 really shows you the best players, man. In fact, so much so that they sometimes, like, if you're not just a diehard StarCraft fan, sometimes they don't seem as close or as good as, like, a best of 5, because a best of 5 can, like, you know, a 3-1 sounds very close, whereas a 4-2 not so much. But I tell you, the best of 7, that's where it's at for me. Like, you get to really see these guys' skills, and if you really pay attention to what's going on, a 4-2 can be one of the closest series you ever saw.
Yes, it can. I'm a full believer in the best of 7 format. Certainly difficult to get players of this caliber to play. In fact, every single last one of them is going to be playing 2 at a bare minimum, because, of course, the bronze match exists. So, I mean, we're going to get to see Flash play 2 best of 7s when the last best of 7 he played was over a year ago at MLG. And we're going to get to see 2 of them.
Pretty sick. And, you know, maybe one of them is the championship match, and maybe he wins. Maybe he goes 7-0 and 7-0, and you're like, Flash, you can stop at 4. He's like, no. I'm going to go 7-0.
It's like, this was my time to prove that, yes, I am the real deal in StarCraft 2. In real series, I don't need to play 1 map. I can play 7, and I'm going to play 7, damn it. It's just the corpse of his opponent just lying on the floor. He just keeps beating it with a stick. It's like, it's over, Flash. People like to drag him away, bloodlust in his eyes.
Well, that's Flash for you, man. You're getting my heart beating right now thinking about Flash in his Brood War days.
The ultimate weapon, indeed. Doesn't mess around. The question is, who does he get to face? Is it going to be DRG? Is it going to be CJ Byung in a TBT? Which would be a treat, by the way. I would absolutely love to see that. But I think a lot of people are maybe rooting for DRG here, and I wouldn't blame them. He's a fan favorite. Plus, it means a Zerg does get through the round of 4, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, that would be nice, having all 4 races, or all 3 races, rather, in the round of 4.
And he's got Balloon in here, so we can have all 4 races.
Yeah, there you go, the only random player left.
Hey, he beat Bomber today. I could not believe it. That blew my mind.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it because it's on in the middle of Korean night, but I'll be checking those VODs out later for sure.
Absolutely. Balloon is such a fantastic guy. I absolutely love him. His stream is maybe one of the best to watch. Probably the most entertaining out at the moment right now. In a world of Smurfs and angry mech players, Balloon is a breath of fresh air.
There you go. I like the way that you say that.
I am nothing if not a master of PR. Ladies and gentlemen, to the southeast position, the final map of the tournament, at least for Group B. In the orange trunks playing Terran on King Sejong Station, here's CJ Entus Byung.
And in the top left of our map, the final boss. Can he win this and go into that round of 4? It is MVP's Dongray Goo.
The most delicious and deadly pasta sauce the world has ever known is Dongray Goo. And he has opened up here with a pool. Nothing too crazy, but pool followed by the hatchery.
It's pretty safe, you know? Like, normally you do see hatch first against Terran, but DRG, you know, he's choosing a bit of discretion here and trying to keep safe. I think he's probably pretty confident in himself going into a later game, so willing to maybe take the bad end of a build order to open.
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Byung he's certainly not going CC first, but he is going for a gasless expand, so it's a little quicker. There will not be a Reaper Scout, which is probably for the best for Byung, because there would be links to meet it very quickly. But it doesn't make that much of a difference. It's certainly not a build order loss for either side. But maybe that gives a slight edge to Byung going into this.
Yeah, I would have to say so. But we'll see where he goes from here and what DRG has planned, because DRG is getting gas now, probably just going to be for speed. And I would imagine that Byung is going to do a build somewhat similar to the last game. You know, mech is somewhat popular on this map, at least. And, you know, Byung's mech pushes, I feel, are maybe in some ways harder to stop than some other, like, slower mech pushes, even though those look invincible, because not many people play mech like Byung does.
No.
So it's hard to get as much practice against his kind of aggressive mech style.
Byung's mech push was the most mobile, least mobile mech push I've ever seen. Like, you take the 2 slowest units in the game, at least on the ground there for the Terran, and you throw them in a composition together and you push forward with it. And yeah, while you don't have siege tanks, you can keep moving. You can always keep moving. But then it was the reload behind that caught me off guard. Being able to use all 5 of his factories to suddenly switch out his production, forcing the Zerg to build a composition against for Hellbat, and then having to deal with siege tanks.
You know, it really does go back to Byung's style that we've been talking about a lot today, which is a strategic play. That's a very intelligent way to play it. If you force them into roaches, and then suddenly you have a bunch of siege tanks, well, they're in trouble, aren't they? And yeah, they are. And we saw that last game very clearly demonstrated by Byung.
And in particular, I think against a player like Dongray Gu, who, as was said before, is so damn stubborn when it comes to his lair tech. It's almost infuriating at times. Like, DRG, get a hive, something. But, you know, his upgrades stop on 2-2. You know, he wins on lair so often. And that can also be his Achilles heel as well. That worries me a little bit.
Yeah, 2-2 is DRG's 3-3.
Yeah,
you know, it's... Mutas are his Vipers, I guess, or something like that. He really does prefer those mid-game compositions, but the amount he's made it work, the amount he's made it his own style, I almost welcome it. When all the other Zergs are going up to Hive and using the units that maybe you don't like quite as much, he's staying to his old ways and still making it work a good portion of the time.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that does mean that sometimes he isn't able to make that work, and against a very scary mech composition, it's a bit difficult. Now, Byung is going for, again, the Armory for the 3rd time in this game, and it looks like he will go for another attempt at this Banshee Hellbat push, but this time around, DRG actually has a Roach Warren.
This is going to do a lot better, I would say, and the thing is, you got to remember, DRG defended it basically perfully last time. Didn't really lose much at all. What did he lose? Like a queen and some lings and 1 drone?
Yeah, and he did that with lings and baneling. And now he's already got 8 roaches out, and he's going to have 12 plus 4 queens plus potential ling baneling behind that.
Yeah, I think he's going to hold it even easier this time. And in fact, these are going to be met by the roaches as they go up the ramp, and they have to back up, losing 1 already.
Yeah, and that's 1 less Hellbat, and that makes a big difference. Every little bit helps in this. DRG even sees the Banshee coming in, so he's going to be able to position his queens and be prepared for that. Admittedly, he does not have the ability to detect Cloak, but Cloak is actually not done yet. It's a good map for these Banshees, I got to admit. You know, you get to go in behind there and do quite a bit. But the Spore Crawler is on its way, and eventually that Banshee will go down. But it's going to take a few drones before that happens. The Lings and Roaches pulling back, realizing they can't really get a huge amount done.
And the Hellions actually running into the main base. Yeah, look at this. Oh, the drone's starting to line up a little bit.
Oh, devastating attack here for Byung. I'm so surprised DRG even let it in the first place. 20 workers killed up to this point. Byung with a deadly start to this game.
An insane volley there. I can't believe he killed 20 workers that quickly. Of course, some of them went to the Banshee, but man, did those drones line up. DRG has to be sad as can be about that. Down to 42 workers at the moment, but he will refill it pretty quickly with his 3 hatches.
Yeah, he does have a fairly decent standing army as well, whereas Byung doesn't. The problem is Byung's got Banshees, and Roaches are not known for their ability to shoot up, so pushing across the map for DRG isn't really an option. This is actually really scary now, because we're seeing that mech transition that we saw in the last game, but this time around, in a strange twist of events, Byung delivers far more damage in the early game than he was able to in the previous.
Well, maybe this time, DRG stays off the mutas, and maybe it becomes a more even game, because yeah, he took that damage early on, but looks like he's staying on Roaches for now, getting that Roach speed, and that should be able to hold off Hellbat Thor a little bit better than, you know, going right into mutas and getting them torn apart.
Yeah, he was very stubborn with those Mutalisks, and unfortunately it didn't really get him too far. The Roaches can knock on the back door here because there actually aren't any siege tanks. There's a potential run-by that could happen here, especially with the Hellions out of position. So this could work out, and hopefully Byung is paying attention. And currently, he hasn't actually responded to it as of yet. Hellion run-by is coming to the 3rd base, though, and there's no defense. This could be even nastier situation. I hope DRG splits better.
Well, some of the drones do come off and bravely try to fight. He turns them into Hellbats. The rest of the Hellions go ahead and chase down the drones. Lots of drones actually dying here. Very painful once again for DRG.
Certainly. He's going to get the cleanup, but not without cost. However, Dongre get into the natural mineral line here. He knocks down the door, and he forces all those SCVs off the line. He kills 6, but he's got a lot of catching up to do in terms of worker harass.
Oh man, those depots did not go up quite quick enough. And you're right, he has to kill a lot of SCVs here because 41 drones have been killed. Oh man, but the Banshee's making quick work with these Thors and SCVs.
Yep, he gets a few. I mean, he's killed 16. That's not too shabby. He's also brought Lings out onto the map, and that third base is completely under threat. The mules are going to go down almost instantly. A lift is forced here. All the mules killed, and they were full mules as well, so that's a big deal. DRG starting to get back into this game here. He says, oh, aggression? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Well, that was really well done. Looks like DRG, he wants to stay on this layer. Ground tech, he's adding a Hydralisk Den, he's getting his ranged attack and his carapace. Of course, he's getting the Infestation Pit as well, so he could be going into Stormhost, but for sure, I think we'll see some more Roaches and Hydras also.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's varying things up here and giving himself more options, you know. If he needs to switch techs, he at least needs the buildings to be able to do it, which he stubbornly refused to build last time. Again, another Hellion run by here. Man, if these were Blue Flame, these would actually be doing a lot more than they currently are. This will eventually get cleaned up, but not without damage done. Thankfully, his drone count's kind of high enough to at least endure a bit of this, but these Hellions are doing more than they deserve to.
You know, how many drones is he going to lose this game? 54 so far. Yeah. This is getting pretty astronomical in costs, but, you know, luckily, as you said, he does have a lot of drones. He can replace this, but that's not what he wants to spend his money on. That's not what he wants to be spending his larva on. He needs to be making an army because Byung is going to be coming for him pretty soon, and it's going to be scary.
Depot wall off, man, if he got in there 5 seconds earlier, but there's a few more Hellbats around, it may have even been a risk, and Blue Flame's about to finish too, so unless he wants to try and bust that, which seems suicidal, I don't think he's going to get much done. He can camp around and make sure a fourth base doesn't go up. I would actually like to see him attempt to run bys onto the third. That's actually still quite exposed and open there.
Yeah, there's only like a handful of units there, and yeah, they're kind of scary units, but you could definitely get in and do a bit of damage.
Yep. Oh, wow, that actually was an incomplete wall, but it doesn't matter because there's a Thor there. It's just going to murder everything anyway, so never mind. There's definitely a possibility that could have worked, but he took too many volleys as he went in from the siege tank. But yeah, there's actually a hole in that wall. Hopefully Byung actually fixes that, as that could be a vulnerability later on.
Yeah, he definitely should throw up another depot there. Flash would have all depots there. He would. For sure.
Yep. He'd have spare depots. He'd just have them all just lining up, ready to serve.
Well, we have, right now, DRG
finished.
still is, yeah, I mean, he's getting a good tech route, and he's continuing his upgrades, and he's patrolling his creep reasonably well. Byung trying to get a little bit of harassment done, but DRG not sending his drones out to that fourth too quickly.
Roach Hydra Viper composition is the choice here for Dongre, a very different game that we're seeing from him indeed compared to his previous, but Byung's supply count is starting to get a little bit out of hand. Dongre needs to win a decisive fight here, I feel, and shutting down this harass is good, but he needs to do a lot more.
Actually, some more drones actually dying in the main base of Blue Flame Hellions right now. Drone death count, 73.
73. That's about to be 77. There it is. I don't know where those drones were going. That makes no sense. They shouldn't have even been there. Oh, he's losing. Whoa. DRG falling to pieces here. He's now 85. His roaches were just wandering off in the wrong direction, and he responded so slowly. This is not good. DRG is starting to fall to pieces.
I think Byung is going to be joining the 100 Drone Club on this game.
Yeah.
Doing a great job with this harassment, all the while building up a nearly invincible force. Look at all these siege tanks, the Thors, even already has Ravens out, just building mass command centers. He is really making it hard for DRG to make any sort of comeback. Yeah,
he is. And it is nice that DRG has the tech options this time around. He's working on upgrades. He's not kind of there yet. He's going to have 2-2, and of course he does have the Roach Hydra Viper Force. Byung losing a bunch of Hellions unnecessarily there, I feel. Great engagement from Dongre, and he pulls back. So, Blinding Clouds can still kind of make this happen, especially considering this is actually a very tank-heavy force that Byung's gone with this time.
quite a good point, actually, now that you say that. That might be the key to victory here. If he can throw down some good Blinding Clouds, it's amazing what Roach Hydra can do against tanks with Blinding Cloud on top. Considering the tanks with Blinding Cloud on top are about as effective as a Changeling.
Indeed. And Hellbat, what? How does he keep getting in? 96 drones killed, 97 now. He's just going for it. Dongregu wants to fight right now. The Blinding Clouds are actually very, very good. They stop all those tanks from fighting. He's trying to engage against this as best he can, but it's a planetary. He's trying to deal with this. The Cloak Banshees are going to town. And can DRG... Oh, he doesn't break it!
Just barely not able to take out that planetary. In the meantime, he's lost so many drones. It's crazy. 98 drones killed. He's lost his army. He's down in supply. Brutal. What do you do here as DRG? He's going to have to hit another very strong Blinding Cloud attack.
Yeah, I feel actually he should have thrown a Blinding Cloud in that planetary, in fact. That did so much that I can't actually see how many kills got right now because it's training SCVs. How dare it? But it definitely contributed an awful lot to that. The Cloak Banshees were a nightmare too, actually. I don't know where his Overseers were, but they definitely weren't with the army because those Cloak Banshees did a absolute number on the Roaches. I mean, one's got 22 kills at the moment. They were really, really effective. And that could have broken that base. It could have. It had the potential to do it. Now,
I feel like it should have almost. That was brutal.
Yeah, he had to. It's that one sinking moment where you pull back, having almost killed it. But he didn't quite. And now, Byung with the counterattack, trying to set something up here. The Sim City of Dongregu is definitely going to work against him here. I can't imagine he'll really want to fight too much. But the Hydras will do fairly well against these Hellbats that die very, very quickly. Blinding Clouds again. Double abduct, triple abduct. Down go a bunch of tanks here. The Blinding Clouds are absolutely perfect. Dongregu streams forward, takes out the rest of the tanks. There's a third layer behind this, though. There's a Hunter Seeker missile going into the center of this as well. And DRG bleeds out. And GG. Byung will be the one to go forward to face Flash in the round of 4. And a clean sweep there by our 4 original Kesper players.
Wow, really great play by all 4 of them. Byung right there, pulling out a really strong harassment-based game, really. You know, he killed over 100 drones there at the end, chose some great places to attack, defended brilliantly, and DRG, despite like a devastatingly awesome ZVT in game number 1, does get taken out.
Oh, it was so close. That's going to be heartbreaking there for Dongregu, getting some good engagements, but so much harass. Like, and we talk about stubborn, but lack of static defense, and honestly, like, kind of just poor army movement from Dongregu there.
Yeah.
Like, the Roaches, that 4th in particular with the Roaches was just like, what are you doing?
There is no way that he should have allowed that many drones to die as well. You know, it's just, ouch. That over 100 drones that game. You know, he had good creep spread. He had the right types of units to stop Hellion and Hellbat harassment in their tracks, but just wasn't able to do it. Byung really shown that he knows how to get in there and mix it up and do the damage required.
No doubt about that. And with that, the last Zerg is eliminated from the tournament, leaving a TBT and a PvP for tomorrow, which is actually kind of great, because not only does it guarantee Byung versus Flash Best 7 TBT, which I am psyched about, an incredible PvP from Zest and Hero, but it also guarantees a TVP in the bronze match and a TVP final.
That's right, and, you know, people have been saying Terran hasn't been doing as well lately. Well, half Terrans in the round of 4 here at the SHOUTCraft Invitational.
Very much so, very much so. We lost Innovation, but we kept Byung and Flash, so overall I feel we certainly won out there. Unfortunately, Hero not able to join his Protoss brethren, but replaced by the other hero, some might say the one true hero, who will be facing off against Zest in the fight of his life at best of 7.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. Like, I actually put in my personal rankings, because I love PvP, maybe my favorite matchup overall. I think Zest is the best in the world, and Hero I put like 2nd or 3rd. Like, he's just so good. I cannot wait for that match. I'm going to be learning a lot.
I certainly think everyone will. It will be top class mirrors in day 3, and then of course some of the best TVP on the planet in the finals day 4, the bronze match best of 7, and of course the finals best of 7. There's a big difference, of course, between third and fourth place, bit extra money on the line, and of course, plenty of prestige in such a star-studded lineup. We have removed perhaps the weaker players from our tournament, and we are left with the absolute elite.
Yeah, you can't really name a better lineup, man. That's for sure. You know, Hero has just been killing it. Zest, 2-time GSL champion. Byung, best record in Pro League. Flash, he's Flash.
Yep.
I can't wait for tomorrow. I wish I could 3x today or something.
That would be nice. Skip forward and see what happens there. We're going to have a great final, of course. We're going to have some brilliant games tomorrow. If you're a fan of TBT, this may be one of the best you have ever seen. I love watching Flash play TBT. I adore it, and Byung's TBT is great too, so this should be amazing.
It certainly should, especially since they played just recently in Pro League, and Byung did take it down with some aggressive play. Just see how Flash answers that.
Indeed. Now, we're going to have a slightly later start. Actually going to be starting at 8 EDT, so just a little bit later, and we will have 2 best of 7s. I'd love to tell you how long that will actually take, but it's 2 best of 7s. It's the most unpredictable thing ever. We could be over in an hour and a half, or it could take 5. We don't know.
Absolutely.
You
can never tell. Let's hope closer to the 5 than the hour and a half. Hour and a half is 8 really quick cheeses or something.
Yeah.
Just a lot of cheese. So hopefully we have some macro in there too.
I hope so. I certainly hope so. All of these players are more than capable of playing the best macro games. And can Zest take a 3rd title in such a short period of time? He's up against it. Now, Hero is incredible in PvP, and even if it gets through the final, he's got to face either Byung or Flash in a best of 7. So that's a tough one. Or can Flash actually claim his... it's kind of arrogant, I suppose, to say first big title in Starcraft 2, but... it's a significant title. It's a big step.
It is a significant title, okay? It may not be a giant LAN. Best online tournament of the year, easily. Easily.
It would be really cool to see if he could pull that off, wouldn't it? That would be fairly amazing if he could. But that pretty much wraps us up here for day 2 at the SHOUTCraft SanDisk Invitational. I'd like to, of course, thank everybody for watching. Big thanks to you, Artosis, once again, for your excellent co-commentary.
Thank you so much for having me, TotalBiscuit. You're the best. This tournament is amazing.
We'll certainly see yet more amazing games tomorrow. Big thanks go out to the Korean casting team, that being the Axiom guys, as well as Olivia, who has been helping with the adminning today, so thank you very much to them. Big thanks to Neo TV, the Chinese casters, for this event, and big shout out, of course, to our Chinese audience, which is growing very quickly as it happens. It's really becoming a thing over there, and I'm very, very glad to see esports support coming out here from China. Big thanks to Chris, who sorted out all the art assets for the event. And a big thank you to our players and the teams that they come from. Commiserations, of course, to Innovation, Liquid Hero, Dong Ray Gu, and Startail Life. But congratulations to KT Zest, CJ Hero, KT Flash, and CJ Byung, who will make up our round of 4. And, of course, give us an incredible finals and bronze match. No real doubt about that. You can tune in, of course, tomorrow at 8 p.m. EDT for the round of 4. And then the final day will be back to 7 p.m. EDT for the bronze match, followed by the grand finals of the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. If you've just tuned in and you missed everything, well, you got a couple of options. If you subscribe to the channel, you get instant access to uncut, spoiler-free VODs, so you can watch the whole thing immediately. Alternatively, you can wait for the rebroadcast, which I will be putting on probably in about 2 hours, I think. I'm going to be targeting the start of the show probably around 8 a.m. Central European time. So just keep an eye on the channel. We'll be doing another rebroadcast for the Europeans. Unfortunately, we can't do it at a better time because the mighty Home Story Cup continues, and you should definitely check that one out tomorrow. Day 3 of the Home Story Cup. A lot of the weaker players have been knocked out, so this is where stuff gets about as serious as Home Story Cup gets, which is not that serious, but it's going to give some great games. There's some awesome players there. I hear rumor, I don't believe this is happening on... but it's probably not happening on day 3, maybe day 4, that there will be a Jaedong versus Stork Brood War show match. It's going to be happening.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's like giving me flashbacks right now. You can't miss that, guys.
Yeah, that's going to be incredible. So do remember to check out twitch.tv/TakeTV. They usually kick off their festivities at 2 p.m. Central European Summer Time. So if you want a quick conversion, then, one, you could Google it, but I'll be kind. I'll give it to you. I believe that would be... God, I hope I'm right on this. No, 8 a.m. Eastern, and that is 5 a.m. on the west coast of the U.S. So, a little bit early. But, of course, they'll be running all day. Great tournament. Big thanks, of course, to TakeTV for cross-promoting this event. That's very much appreciated. And do check them out. And we will be following them up tomorrow. It's going to be happening at 8 p.m. EDT for the round of 4. Big thanks to SanDisk. SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD sponsors and brings you this absolutely fantastic event. My name's been TotalBiscuit. And I'm
Artosis.
Sorry, my apologies. Okay. That is the one and only Artosis. He will be back with me tomorrow. And we've got 2 more days of great action here at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and good night. Check out youtube.com/TotalBiscuit for the spoiler-free VODs of yesterday. If you missed it, they're all up there already. You can check them all out. And I would recommend that you do, because that was one hell of a day. We'll see you next time. Hi, my name's John Bain, and it's my pleasure to thank SanDisk for bringing us top-notch StarCraft 2 entertainment at the SanDisk SHOUTCraft Invitational. When I'm not casting StarCraft 2, it's my job to critique PC games, and to do that, I need the best hardware. One of the best upgrades that you can get for your PC gaming experience is a solid-state drive, so I'd like to encourage you to check out the SanDisk Extreme Pro SSD. It's engineered for super-fast read and write speeds and consistent high performance 24/7. What does that mean for your games? Faster load times, faster boot times, faster install times. Less downtime, more game time. Plus, they're easy to install, run cool, and are both virtually silent and energy efficient. If you're worried about reliability, no need. SanDisk backs it all up with a 10-year warranty. Game without limits when you step up to the consistent high performance of SanDisk Extreme Pro.